Like skin of his nose.
No, it's fine. Deb, we're ready. You're ready. I'll call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Alsop.
Here.
Kirkshank.
Here.
Heifel.
Here.
Shield.
Here.
Musgrave.
Here.
Rankin.
Here.
McKinney.
Here. Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the village council and will be approved in one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately immediately after consent agenda approval in its normal sequence on the regular agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support. Motion and support. Roll call vote, please.
Heifel.
Yes.
Shield.
Yes.
Musgrave.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Alsop.
Yes.
Kirkshank.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes. Motion carried. Public comment. Members of the public can address council once recognized by the chairperson. Comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes. Council may extend this time by up to an additional 4 minutes by a majority vote. Prior to addressing council, we ask that members of the public please state their name and address for the record. Anyone to offer public comment? Yes. Tina, good evening.
Tina Alvarado. Tina Alvarado, 17088 Fish Lake Road. And I'm here just to thank the Village Council for allowing the Holly car shows to continue in the Village of Holly. Over the past 5 years, Haya has been present at the car shows, and we set up a popcorn table. And people don't know my name, but they'll just call me the popcorn lady. 1 year we weren't able to be there, and where's the popcorn lady? Where's the popcorn lady? And so it's done a lot to promote, actually, people to recognize Haya. Now, they still don't know what it is or what we do, but they know that, oh, yeah, you're the lady that sells popcorn, and you have that red shirt on. So the car shows do a lot to promote different things within our community, and I want you to know that actually a profit of $1,245 was gleaned by just asking for donations at the popcorn or at the car shows. And one last thing I'd like to say about the car show, and that is this. I know that some people kind of grumble if they might have to walk a little ways because they can't find a place to park, and there's a lot of people down there. But it's such a good, family-friendly environment. You know, you got Frank Rainey bringing his 3 grandsons to the car show. Well, Frank got wise after that first time he bought all 3, then he started taking one at a time. But you see families, and they're buying ice cream down at Cupcakes and Kisses, and they're going out to eat at Avia's or the Red Devil and the Davisburg Bread Company. And it's just a wonderful family atmosphere kind of evening. And I thought about this tonight. There's something behind the scenes that you may not see. And that is, there are, I would say, up to 4 adults who are on, I'll call them the Bob Alsop team, who are mentally challenged, but they're there every week, and they take great pride in helping to set up the car show and to line those cars up. And I had a young man who wanted to volunteer at Haya, and he's autistic. And when Joe came to do popcorn, we really didn't need him that night. Bob took him right underneath his wing, and he gave him a job to do, and he showed him how to park cars, and he made him part of that team. The next week I come to the car show. Here's Joe. Hey, Joe, you going to help us with popcorn? No, I got to park cars. He's got a shirt on. He's a staff member. So this car show isn't just a means of having a family-friendly weekly event. It also is doing something for members of our society. It truly is. It makes them feel worthy, respected, and they do a great job. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Any further public comment at this time? Who would want to follow that, I guess?
Oh, I forgot one thing. I'm going to steal Ryan's thunder. Because he wasn't able to be at the meeting before last, and a couple wonderful things that happened, and again, it's all community working together. On September 15th, Holly Area Youth Assistant was able to give away 50 bikes that were donated from a gentleman I still have yet to meet, but he found out about me by a lady I don't even know, except that she belongs in Holly. I was minding my own business, giving blood, when this lady says to me, "Oh, Tina, I gave so-and-so your name because he has 50 bikes he wants to give to needy children, and I told him you could do it." Okay. So I've called Mr. Bradley Baker, still have not met the man. He has 50 bikes. I don't know how I'm going to move 50 bikes, but things just happen. People just volunteered to do stuff. On September 15th, we had 50 bikes. We had 50 kids set up to come and get the bikes. So many happy faces and thank yous from parents and kids getting to pick out their bikes. Now they're refurbished bikes. They're not brand new bikes, but they were good bikes. And so that was done. And one last thing, Ohio was recently granted a $500 grant from the Walmart company, and that money is being used to bring a family education program to Holly area schools. It's called Love and Logic. It's evidence-based. Please Google it. It's a wonderful program, and it's going to start September 16th. It will be at Holly Elementary, 6:30 to 8, and it's completely free because of this grant that we got from Walmart. So, good job. Hi.
Anyone other than Tina want to offer public comment tonight? No one? New business, a study session, Holly area bond issue. Did you have any comments, Mr. Walker?
No, actually, Mr. Roper, the Holly Area School Superintendent, is here to present, and Mr. Roper has been making his rounds, he and his staff, as they approach the November 6th election date. So, with your permission, we'll just turn it over to Mr. Roper.
Mr. Roper, please. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening and speak with you about our bond. For those of you who don't know me, I'm new into the position of superintendent, began on July 1st, and in a short time I've had the opportunity to get to know more people in the community within this capacity. I appreciate the opportunity to work with Chief Story already on a couple of things, and he's been very supportive, as well as Mr. Walker. We've had a couple of meetings and looking to continue to grow our partnership between, of course, the village and the school district. This is my 20th year in education. Was a building principal for almost 8 years in 2 districts, and previously the assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction for Holly area schools, and now I've moved into this position. One of the things that I'd like to emphasize is it's been a great start to our school year. Our student enrollment has continued to be steady over the last 3 years, which is something that a lot of districts in Michigan has struggled with over the last 5 to 10 years. So we've continued to see growth where in fact, where previous studies had said that we would be down a significant number at this time. So good, that is good news for us, and I think good news for the community as we see growth, of course, for our district. Student achievement continues to be on the rise. This is the second year in a row that I was able to share with our school board that we've had some of the highest assessment scores to date, especially in grades 3 through 5. It was a major focus for us the last few years, and we've now doubled the number of areas where we've exceeded not only the state average, but also the county average. And of course, as you know, being in Oakland County, it's a very competitive county, especially academically in the state, so that was good news for us. One of the things that I'm emphasizing with our staff this year is kindness, respect, and compassion. We're looking at a number of ways that we can expand our partnerships, not only with our students, but especially with our parents and our community. As we know, we've reached certain points in our society where often communication falls short, or people tend to go to social media to vent their concerns without following any kind of protocol or chain of command to contact and ask the question. So we, as I've encouraged my staff, to be models for that. So how can we do a better job ourselves and try to promote that kind of culture beyond our school district and hopefully into our school families as well. Communication, in addition to the bond fact sheet and the brochure that I've provided to you, I wanted to highlight that one of the things that we are working on to really support the theme I just mentioned about becoming better partners, we wanted to improve the way we tell our message about our district. So we've worked hard in a short period of time to put together press releases. Now, of course, we don't always control when a media may pick up a press release, but we have in a short time had ABC 12, Tri-County Times, as well as Oakland Press pick up many of these press releases, and we've included them on our website as well. So one of the things that we're going to continue to announce and share with our community. And before I go into the bond, just quickly, a couple new programs that we're excited about I wanted to mention. One is STEM, and you may have heard we've got a lot of great feedback from our students at our elementary level. We are now offering STEM classes in grades young 5 through 5th. It's actually part of a rotation, just as kids would take art, music, and phys ed. They're now taking STEM, and we're very fortunate that when we posted for these positions, we had 2 of our many applicants came from were Michigan natives that moved out of state, worked in schools out of state. One had started a STEM program in Florida, and another had started a STEM program in South Carolina. So they have since moved into the district. In fact, one is renting just downtown. He and his wife and his young baby, and they're looking for a place to permanently reside in Holly, and hopefully close to downtown is what they tell me. So they've enjoyed being in the area, and they're certainly excited about being in Holly. As I transition now to bond, I wanted to give you a little background as to how we arrived at this point. So a little over, about approximately a year ago, our district engaged in what was a district-wide facility site assessment. And following that site assessment, we conducted 2 community surveys. From the results of the site assessments as well as the community surveys, our school board spent a great deal of time last spring determining what would be the greatest needs for this bond proposal. What the site assessment found was that we have over $120 million worth of needs. Obviously, that's a big bite to chew off. And our school board made a conscious decision to ask our community for a bond proposal that would not raise the tax rate. And that's why we've had to identify our highest priority projects. And those are outlined in the bond fact sheet. The 3 focus areas are safety, security, building and site improvements, and learning environments. With safety and security, all 6 buildings will have a new secured entrance. What has often happened in the last few years in districts, and not only in Michigan, but certainly this has become a national issue. They've tried to find different ways to delay an event or an issue that could happen in the buildings. And one of the things that we had done with some grant money in the past was lock our doors, and have a camera outside of the buildings and a voice box that would then alert who might be visiting. But once that door is opened, there's access to the entire building. What a secured entrance would do would limit that access. In fact, what it would do is direct any visitor during the day to the office, and from the office there would be no permission granted until once they've come in and been identified, then the door could be unlocked to the rest of the building. So that's one of the big focus areas. Now, in addition to the secured entrance, we're talking about additional cameras as well. What some districts have done when they've been able to do that is began working with local law enforcement, so that way all authorities have access to those as well in an emergency situation where we can turn that over and they can actually see what's going on in the buildings. Up until last year, and we took advantage of a Michigan State Police grant, we didn't have cameras in our elementaries. Now we do, but we were only able to acquire a certain number of them. So this would obviously expand upon that. Building and site improvements would include, of course, as you know, as with our homes, things age out. Behind these walls, including in this building, but behind these walls, a lot of the infrastructure is aged. Cabling, wiring is actually double the lifespan. And we made a consistent effort to increase technology in our district for our students. We invested a few years ago in more Chromebooks, and that investment continues and is part of our plan, but we also reach a capacity at a certain point of what our technology is able to handle. And we were able to do some band-aiding. The tech closets in each building has some refurbished switches that we purchased to get us by, but any type of expansion that we want to continue and want to maintain is going to require new cabling as well as switches within those closets. So that is, of course, a big part of what the building and site improvements would have. Not including, though, of course, the things that people see. I mentioned the things behind the wall, but what people recognize when they go to our districts, of course, is the age in the roofs, the parking lots especially. If we're going to make an investment, for example, in the parking lots, now would be the time to also address traffic patterns. And we have, of course, a lot of congestion at especially 3 of our elementaries with traffic patterns. So with this bond, we would also take the time to address those areas. Much of this is outlined on bond presentation boards. We have the 6 of them posted here as you walk into the building. We have them at each site as well, and on our website where you can pull up a link. And lastly, learning environments, and I'm kind of going through some of this quickly, so forgive me, but the learning environments piece would also be an expansion of technology in the media centers. So where we would be able to support student-centered learning environments in those areas. Once we did get approval from the Treasury Department, we did pass a resolution in mid-August, which allowed us to engage in this informational bond campaign. And we really began launching that at the end of August, early September. We sent home brochure mailers to all residents, and we have provided in many places around the community these bond fact sheets, as well as, of course, at our buildings. We did run a press release that was picked up by Oakland Press, which is, I think, is part of the packet. And we're working with Tri-County Times and hoping that they'll also pick up that press release. We've given presentations to the 5 local townships, the Chamber of Commerce, the American Legion, tonight with you, parent leadership groups across the district, and of course many more. We were at Holidays, we've been at the Davisburg Heritage Festival, and tomorrow, of course, is an important day. We have a community forum, as it's announced on the brochure. So tomorrow we have 3 times to answer questions at the community forum, and if I may, I'd like to show at least one of the videos on our website. We have 4 videos. The longest in length is the comprehensive video. The others are about 1.5 minutes. And 1 second here. Cue this up. Others are approximately, like I said, 1.5 minutes. So we have 5 total. The 5th one will be provided here. All set up, working just fine before the meeting, and of course, somebody made sure to cue this so it wasn't going to work, right? So, okay. That's actually, I'm going to play the comprehensive video, which has all the focus areas.
On November 6, 2018, our community will vote on a Holly Area Schools bond proposal. If approved by voters, this bond proposal would provide $38,150,000 for district-wide improvements with no tax rate increase to taxpayers. This bond proposal was developed as a part of a long-term master plan for district facilities. Buildings and sites were assessed to determine and prioritize a list of facility needs throughout the district. This bond proposal focuses on the highest priority projects and concentrates on 3 key areas: safety and security, building and site improvements, and learning environments. School safety is a part of Holly Area Schools' mission statement. This proposal will provide funding for additional safety improvements throughout the district. Safety and security upgrades at all buildings would include secure entrances in order to monitor and control access to schools. Additional security improvements would include new door hardware for classrooms, additional video surveillance, improved exterior lighting, and upgrades to fire alarm systems. Vehicular traffic challenges would be addressed to improve pedestrian safety and relieve traffic congestion in parking lots and roads during the student drop-off and pickup. The district operates 6 school buildings that range in age from 21 to 68 years old. While the buildings have been well maintained, many building systems are beyond their anticipated life cycle and need to be replaced. If approved, this bond proposal would fund capital improvements to make our buildings more energy efficient and extend their useful lives. These improvements would include replacing failing heating and cooling systems, inefficient lighting and electrical systems, aged roofing, inefficient windows, and worn interior finishes. Technology infrastructure would be upgraded to include new wiring and cabling, network switches and access points. Parking lots and paving improvements would be made at all buildings as necessary, and elementary playgrounds would be improved throughout the district. Learning environments throughout the district would be improved with updated access to current technology and expanded wireless service for our students and staff. This bond proposal would provide new student devices and staff with instructional devices to support a variety of educational programming. Modern media centers would be developed in all school buildings. These new learning spaces would have integrated technology and flexible furniture to accommodate large and small group instruction. Modern media centers in each building would allow our students to experience a collaborative, student-centered learning environment. If this bond proposal is approved by voters on Election Day, there would be no tax rate increase. Please vote November 6, 2018. And to learn more about this bond proposal, visit the district website, hask12.org.
So, as I finish up, a couple of little known facts that sometimes we don't think about when we think about schools is, for example, schools aren't funded for capital expenses. Well, often why districts go for a bond proposal. Another one is that school districts don't receive transportation funding. Holly Area Schools, as you know, is the third largest district in the Tri-County area. When I mean Tri-County, Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne County. With about 124 square miles, our buses travel approximately 2,000 miles a day. And that is about approximately 8% of our budget at a little over $2.8 million that we spend on transportation because, of course, it's important to our community, important to our families. So we are, in addition to everything I just shared with you this evening, we're posting 3 to 5 social media blasts or releases every day with new information. Some are re-releases, but just getting the word out on this proposal. And I appreciate, again, the opportunity to kind of share this with you this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment. Members of the public can address council once recognized by the chairperson. Comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes. Council may extend this time up to an additional 4 minutes by a majority vote. Prior to addressing council, members of the public, we ask please state your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to make public comment at this time? Mr. Love.
John Love, 200 North Saginaw. Well, we finished off the waterworks, but what's the plan? It's an eyesore. It looks worse than it did before, and I'd like to understand what your plan is to do this, because you're on top of these plans. The other thing is here's an eyesore right across the street from my mill in downtown Holly. I'd like to have that fixed and bring it up to the standards. There's some kind of boarded up window here. It's a violation, and it's the village. So we're working night and day on the waterworks, and we're not doing anything on this building that's right in downtown Holly. It's on Railroad Street. That's a beauty. But who cares? We're selling the car wash, and I don't know what the asking price is. I understand they had we're considering some sale price. I don't know what you know about it, but it should be open and transparent on a sale. You can't even have a closed session according to the Open Meetings Act on the sale of village property, public property. You can have a closed meeting if you are going to buy property, but not to sell it. So I'd like to see what the sale prices are and what's going on with that. I understand the fire hall is going to be on the block. There should be a for sale sign on that, if that's the plan and with some price associated with it. That's what transparency and open meeting act are all about. So I'd like you to live up to those standards.
Thank you, Mr. Love. Any further offerings for public comment this evening? Hearing none, reports. Mr. Walker?
No report tonight.
Ms. Bigger?
Not much. My audit team has finished on site. They were there most of the day today, was the last day, and all of last week. We've already set up the meeting to go over the draft of the audit with them. I'll still be working with them through email and stuff for the next couple of weeks. And then they will present the audit to council in December, the December meeting.
Boards and commissions. Mr. Cruikshank, anything to offer?
Mine was planning last week, and the fire department was on the agenda for that one, and they were given an approval with some stipulations just to finalize some plans and stuff. So.
Thank you. Ms. Heupel?
The Carl Richter Community Center has a community comedy night with Norm Stultz on October 27th at 8 o'clock. It will be at the Carl Richter Community Center Auditorium. Tickets are $10 for pre-sale or $15 at the door, and I have tickets to sell.
Ms. Musgrave?
Nothing.
Mr. Shield?
Historic hasn't met since the last meeting, and Miss Alvarado pretty much covered Haya for me, and I appreciate that, Miss Alvarado. And that's pretty much it.
Mr. Rankin?
Parks met last week, or 2 weeks ago now. The days are all getting jumbled. But anyways, so we are sponsoring Holly Days, or Halloween this year. It will be it'll be October 27th on a Saturday starting at 3 p.m. Trick-or-treating starts downtown, and then we'll migrate over into Crapel Park, where there's going to be a costume contest, free cider and donuts. The bonfire is still kind of in the works. We're not really sure how we're going to do that, but the plan is to have a bonfire. So it's going to be a good community event. Everybody come downtown. Last few years we've had several hundred children and their parents downtown, so we expect at least that many this year. Should be a good event. We have a special meeting tomorrow. Ben Clark has offered to build, as his Eagle Scout project, a little library that I know we have talked about having little libraries throughout town. Well, if this project goes through, his will be our first, and the plan is to place it at Crapel Park, where he will be responsible for installing and maintaining the little library, and so we'll have one of those downtown. And we'll find out about that tomorrow.
Mr. Elsa?
Well, there was a zoning board meeting, and I got ill, and I didn't make it. And I talked to, were you there, Katie? Did they pass that chicken? I didn't miss nothing, did I?
They've been asked, it was postponed, and they've been asked to come before the ZBA again with a different plan.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council comments. Mr. Shield?
I have none.
Mr. Rankin?
Nothing further.
Mr. Elsa?
Well, I got a couple things. And I want to thank Mr. Walker. I called him before the car show, and he was on vacation, and Brian, they got the garbage cans. He trimmed a tree for the lighting. Lights were working in Battle Alley. Everything was perfect, Jerry. Thank you very much, and Brian. And around 2 o'clock, I called Chief Story, right, Chief? I told him I thought there'd be a lot of commotion in town, and I wanted a little bit of security, so he come down and stayed for a while. And I called Chief McGee early, telling him that the streets would be blocked early. And he told me at 6 o'clock if I had any problems to call him back, and I didn't have any problems. And we had a guest, Lisa Slutkins, I think her name was called. She made a campaign down there, running for Senate seat. And God, God, it's just awesome. Thanks for everything, all you guys. Oh, and Debbie helped us pour cider and donuts. She worked for us for free. You know,
Don't I
Ryan,
always?
Ryan was down there too.
No, you paid me with donuts.
I seen Debbie. I want to really thank you, Jerry and Brian. Everything was exactly like I asked you. Thank you.
Ms. Musgrave?
Nothing further.
Ms. Heifel?
Nothing further.
Mr. Cruikshank?
Nothing tonight?
I have no comments. If there's no objection,
Motion to close?
Support.
7:30.
Motion support.
Support.
Oh, ask the candidates. Is that this Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah, day after tomorrow.
Council people have to come, everybody comes?
No, this is not a state of the village, this is for people that are running.
It's just the candidates that are running for the
You
next office.
can come and watch. I
You
mean,
got free food? Cupcakes?
it's not my it's not my event. I'm just going.
You have no choice, you gotta go.
Yeah, nothing. All right, let's close.
Meeting's adjourned.
Don't forget your gift in the car.
I haven't opened, I haven't
Oh,
opened it.
yes, I'm so